I know that you think that every hero and villain created by DC and Marvel are completely original ideas. You might think that all the characters you love are completely unique ideas written by genius writers. Most of them indeed are original ideas. But did you know that sometimes they actually like to copy each other? Especially if you have been more attentive, you've certainly noticed that several DC and Marvel characters have many things in common. That's what this video is about. In this video, I'm bringing you a list of characters that both Marvel and DC copied from each other. And the list is so big that I actually can't include every character in just one video. So if you want a part 2, let me know in the comments. Let's begin. Black Spider. I think this one is obvious. His name says it all. Black Spider was a clear desperate attempt by DC to compete with Spider-Man. The first appearance of Black Spider was in 1976. Spider-Man first appeared in comics in 1962. Both have very similar abilities, such as shooting webs and sticking to any surface. But in terms of the stories of the two characters, the similarities are not that many. Before being Black Spider, Eric Newton was a swindler who accidentally killed his own father during a robbery. After being arrested, he stopped being a criminal and started to administer justice with his own hands. In this aspect, we can say that the ethics of the two characters are very different, but their fighting moves and classic poses are too identical to Spider-Man's. There are so many coincidences that it's impossible not to think that Black Spider was not inspired by Spider-Man. Vision. This is a special case, because in this case, the copy became much more popular than the original. There is much evidence that Vision is a copy of the Red Tornado. Both are red androids, both wear a cape, and both are bald. But there's something curious in this case. The first appearance of the Red Tornado in comics was in 1968. The first record of Vision was in 1940. In other words, Vision was created practically 30 years before the Red Tornado. So it doesn't make sense for Vision to be the copy, right? It does. And the explanation for that is very simple. Vision's character from the 1940s is a character that has nothing to do with the Vision that we know today. First of all, he wasn't even an android. He was a pale-looking alien police officer who fought intergalactic crime. It was only in 1968 that a new version of Vision was created, where his appearance and his story underwent quite suspicious changes. Do you think it was just a coincidence? Guardian. This copy was certainly a failure. The proof of this is that you probably don't even remember or have never heard of him. For you who don't know him, I'll tell you a little about him. The Guardian is a DC hero who doesn't possess any superpowers. He is an American soldier with a super suit and an almost indestructible shield, dedicating his life to fighting the bad guys. Does it remind you of someone? Exactly. He is a blatant copy of Captain America. I think they couldn't be more obvious. They only needed to change the colors of the suit and give it the same name to confirm that he is a copy of Captain America. Many times copying someone's work leads nowhere, because the Guardian didn't even come close to making the success that Captain America did. Of course, they can take inspiration, but making such a blatant copy is just dumb. We don't need two Captain Americas. Deadpool. I don't know if he can be considered a hero, but he is certainly one of the favorite characters of superheroes fans. But this might be one of the cases you may have heard of. The Deadpool that emerged in 1991 is a copy of DC's Deathstroke that appeared in 1980. In this case, there is no denying that Wade Wilson is a copy of Slade Wilson. The stories of both are also very similar. Deathstroke was part of a military experiment, where he gained various special abilities, one of which was accelerated regeneration. Also, Deathstroke is also a bloodthirsty mercenary. But let's face it, Deadpool became a unique character despite all his similarities to Deathstroke. And probably Deadpool's unique characteristics have made him much more popular than Deathstroke. Steel. Here you'll have to guess. I'll describe the character, and you'll guess the character that Steel is copying. Deal? I will check the comments to see who got it right. Well, John Henry, aka Steel, created in 1993, is a brilliant billionaire engineer in charge of designing and selling super-modern weapons to the government. In a story where Superman died, Metropolis was being dominated by the gang war, and to stop them, John had the idea of inventing a powerful armor in memory of Superman to combat crime. It's obvious, isn't it? Steel is an obvious copy of our dear and beloved Tony Stark. Iron Man was created in 1963, that is, 30 years before Steel made his debut in DC Comics. There are no doubts. Steel was clearly inspired by Iron Man. Wolverine. Being one of the most iconic heroes of Marvel, and one of the most loved too, it's a pity that he is on this list. His debut in comics was in 1974 in one of the Incredible Hulk comics. And the great source of inspiration for the creation of Wolverine is DC's Timberwolf. The first appearance of Timberwolf in comics was in 1964. Their stories don't have many similarities, but the characters themselves have very similar characteristics, such as, for example, both having claws and superhuman attributes. And physically, they are also very similar. Captain Marvel. The Captain Marvel case is a very interesting one. Despite having the name Captain Marvel, he was not originally created by Marvel. In 1940, a company that published comics called Fawcett Comics, which is now defunct, published a comic that marked the first appearance of Captain Marvel in comics. The story portrays a boy named Billy Batson, who gained powers from a wizard and was able to transform into a super powerful hero by shouting a magic word. That's right, this was the first Captain Marvel. Its immense success and its many similarities to Superman caught the attention of national publications, which would later become DC Comics. It sued Fawcett Comics claiming that Captain Marvel was a plagiarism of Superman. In 1953, Fawcett lost the lawsuit and had to withdraw all comics with the character that were in circulation and even paid a fine to DC. While they were fighting in court, Marvel quickly showed up and realized that this superhero would be perfect to title a new publication. Marvel bought the name license in 1967 and started publishing Captain Marvel's magazine. It wasn't until 1972 that DC finally decided to pay Fawcett to use Captain Marvel in their own comics. But DC arrived too late. They wouldn't be able to use the superhero because he was already being used by Marvel. So what DC did was change its name to Shazam. DC even used the original Captain Marvel name for a while, but they were threatened with lawsuits, and so the only solution they had was to change his name. In short, Marvel's Captain Marvel is a copy of Captain Marvel from Fawcett Comics created in the 1940s, which in turn had copied DC's Superman. Were you surprised with some of the characters that were on the list? Also, let me know in the comments if you want me to bring more content about this topic. If this is your first time watching a video of mine, you probably noticed that I started this channel not long ago. My goal for 2024 is to reach 1,000 subscribers, but that goal without your help will not be possible. I would really appreciate it if you help me grow here on YouTube. You know how difficult it is to grow a YouTube channel. Your subscription will make all the difference to me, and you will definitely become a very special subscriber for me in the community of this channel, because without you, the growth of this channel is not possible. Thank you in advance. Now, you really need to watch this video that is showing up to you right now. In this video, I finally ended with a discussion about who are the most powerful Avengers in the MCU. See you there.